I keep track of pretty much everything I do for business with a activity journal. This is what I use. It's a little program called Sales Manager, but anyway, it allows me to record anything I want to with respect to the time, the date, and the details of what I did. Some of the stuff that I do involves a lot of detailed information that I want to keep track of. I don't like to type. So what I do in cases like that is I use Camtasia and Recorder as my personal administrative assistant. So what I'll do is I'll just start doing a recorder capture. Recorder can be configured to do microphone and screen, but to make it work easier, I just do microphone only. And then I'll just basically dictate whatever notes I think I want to come up with. And then over in Camtasia, I'll create a new project when that dictation is done or the recording is done. And in the new project, I'll put something on the timeline that will allow me to produce a video. And usually I'll just take a annotation. This is an annotation. I'll stick an annotation on there and set its opacity to 0, like that. And then I'll put on top of that the microphone capture that I did. I've imported it here in this little example project. And then having done that, this is now a narration of everything I wanted to have in my notes. And I'll go over here and I will export this to screencast.com. After I do that, it'll go up to screencast.com. I have a Screencast Pro account, and in screencast.com, I will select all the transcript, Control C to copy it to my clipboard, and then in Notepad++, paste it there. You can see it's basically text plus some, time hacks, and I'll use some macros that I have in Notepad++ to clean the transcript up. If I run this clean transcript macro, it's going to remove all these time hacks, so I'll run it to the end of file. And now all that stuff is gone, and I have another little macro that merges all this text into one nice paragraph instead of all these separate lines. So I'll run that. I have to run it a couple of times in order to get through all this text. But once I've done that, I can just select everything, Control C, copy that to my clipboard. Then back in my little app, and let's pretend that I'm going to put it in this record here. I'll click in that record, Control V, tab out of that, and now I have a nice text of all the stuff I just dictated, and that to me is so much easier and more interesting to do than me sitting down and trying to type out all this stuff on the first end. So that's another way I use Camtasia and Recorder, like I said, to make that application sort of behave as a personal assistant to me in order to let me use this little application to keep track of what I do in my business and also sometimes my personal life.